Right guys, as you know, as seen by the title, this is going to be my kind of little prediction on kind of the Jake Paul versus AnEsonGib fight, or 7-figure Gibber as we love to just call him because he's just a beautiful human being. But apart from that, when it does come to it today, he's going to be just speaking about it, my prediction, the kind of come up to it, and yeah, like what I do think is going to happen in the fight, because that is what a prediction is, isn't it? Yeah. But apart from that, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. It's different type of content today. I don't usually do it, but I thought today, like, the fight is happening tonight, so I thought I'd do it. I'll probably be up watching it. I don't really know, but yeah. Let me know down in the description as well. Let me know down in the comment section what you actually think will happen as well, because like it is interesting. They're both very similar, and they've both got a lot on the line to actually go for it. So yeah, let's pretty much just get into the prediction and talk about kind of the aftermath and the whole beforehand. So guys, obviously talking about beforehand on the fight, obviously we all know that the fight was meant to happen on the undercard of the actual KSI and Logan Paul fight, but for some reason that just didn't go through. And obviously a lot of stuff does happen when you actually do try to do a fight, so obviously you get contracts, your terms and conditions, make sure everything's done correctly and everything like that, and I suppose that probably just fell through. And to be fair, to get it done that quickly would have been very hard as well, especially when it's such a big boxing event. Now, coming on to it, if you go to the Jake Paul side, which I'm going to cover first, I really do think they've been very unprofessional when it does come to it. Purely because of like the way, like, you've got his manager, the person who just got that weird hair, who kind of looks like that penguin from, like, I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put it on screen right now what he does look like. Anyway, he looks like that, and obviously you can just tell, but they've just been like really like unprofessional, like saying who's Gib, who's KSI. Well, if you didn't know who they are, why are you fighting? You must have done the research. So how would you know who's your fighter? Because like, if you didn't know who your fighter was, then that would be quite worrying, because surely when you are going to fight someone, you're going to have to understand who they are going to be, what their tactics are, how they fight, their position, if they're orthodox, unorthodox, you know? And it's just a bit like, why are you just saying this? It is obviously all for camera and everything like that, to act like hard, but it's just a bit sad in my opinion. But guys, when it does come to Jake Paul's side, though, I would say there's only one good thing, is that he's changed trainer. As we know, he had Shannon Briggs, and obviously that's who Logan Paul had, and just look how that ended, which, to be fair, is completely fair enough. But now it's obviously changed, and he's got this new professional boxer, or ex-professional boxer, who was a heavyweight as well. He's training him more in the mountains, which I know Gib is doing as well, but obviously when you're training in cold air, high altitude, your oxygen level produces more, obviously, like just around your body, makes it easier to fight. Obviously, you've got higher stamina, which again is perfect, and I think that was kind of a massive thing in his last fight against Deji, was that he did kind of just burn out and gas out very quickly, which is fair enough. It's when your first ever fights, you are going to burn out quite quickly if you've only been training for about 6-7 months. Another thing is, well, going with the whole like kind of Jake Paul side, which you are speaking of first, I'm not being biased. I will say who I want to win in a minute. Obviously, you probably can't tell, but right now I actually want Gib to win because he's UK, I'm UK, and he's just funny, and I can't stand Jake Paul because he lies all the time. But anyway, carrying on. Jake Paul. Logan Paul has said that he's a better boxer than him, which, to be fair, they're twice the size. Obviously, Logan Paul had better like wrestling. I know obviously wrestling's different, but Logan Paul was so much better than wrestling than obviously Jake Paul was, obviously winning more. But I know Jake Paul was good at wrestling, but just to say that as well, like, is kind of mad when it does actually come to it. So I would actually say that Jake Paul must actually have something up his sleeve, or something that no one's actually seen before, if Logan Paul is saying that. And they said they haven't sparred together. I believe they have sparred together, because you're brothers. You think you would spar together, which is kind of a mad thing. But to be fair, they're completely different sizes. And I think where Jake Paul is just a bit smaller, where obviously Logan Paul is bigger, perhaps he might be a bit faster. I don't know. But from what I'm kind of having a guess of what they're saying, that is going to be my prediction about Jake Paul. Now guys, going on to 7-figure Gibber, as we know, he's just a legend. But he is just, I think, more conditioned overall. He's had 2 fights already previously. One against, obviously, Max Plays FIFA and Jay Swingler. Which, to be fair, Jay Swingler, if you obviously watch TGF, he's quite a hard and toughened bloke. As in, like, he obviously does a lot of stuff. He doesn't get hurt as much, obviously, because he's just used to pain. And, obviously, he wasn't boxing for as long. But it was a very, very good fight. And where, obviously, Jay Swingler can take a lot, 7-figure Gibber did a lot to actually take him down, which is completely fair enough. And I didn't expect it. I thought Jay Swingler was going to beat him, but Gib proved us all wrong. And when you look at Gib, like, he hasn't got that physical aesthetics about him. He's just him. He doesn't look amazing, but he is solid when it comes to fighting. And that's the thing is as well, you look at Jake Paul, he looks all ripped and muscly and like, I want to obviously bang him. And then you look at Gib, completely different. Like, it was the exact same thing when it came to the Ruiz and Joshua fight. Ruiz, he was just fat, really, doesn't he? He didn't really care. He was just going there for a fight. Joshua, absolute tone and ripped. Ruiz beat him. Like, you would never have guessed that in the world, and obviously he does what he is, so it doesn't really matter about what you look like and your size, as long as you've got that technique and obviously a bit of power behind it, obviously because you need that power, you should win the fight. Speed, again, is a key factor, but you can easily just get power against it, but that's just my opinion, and that's where I think like Jake Paul is underestimating Gib, just purely because of his size and what he does look like, which is a massive thing, because if you go and watch any of Gib's previous fights, he is mental when it does come to it. His arms everywhere, he's swinging, he's a bit like KSI's fighting, which I kind of would predict it just purely because Vidal Riley coached them both, and obviously it's Vidal Riley's actual last fight, which is something I need to mention later. But yeah, just like, they both are similar fighters, and with KSI being quite a good fighter, to be fair, beating Logan Paul, beating Joe Weller, obviously drawing against Logan Paul, and now possibly fighting Jake Paul if he actually does beat Gib, which I really do highly doubt, is a kind of a big thing, because really if Jake Paul does beat Gib, then he's going to be kind of fighting the same person again. Even though they are different people, they've been trained in the same way, trained stuff, each obviously fighter will have different aspects which are their favourite, but Jake Paul, if he does beat Gib, he would actually say he's got kind of the upper hand against it, just because he's fought someone already very similar, and he knows what to do, and he's also got Logan Paul on his side, so he knows how he fights, because he's had 2 fights against him, so it's completely different. Whereas you go to Logan Paul, what he said about Jake Paul, like Jake Paul is more of a kind of a clinical fighter, he's more smart, whereas Logan Paul was just more like angry, which he said himself, but obviously he didn't come out in the fight, which is fair enough. So that's just something for like later on, but obviously like I said, I really do think Jake Paul is underestimating Gib right here, purely because he's been trained by Vidal Riley. He's already had 2 more fights than him, or 1 more fight even, sorry. Also sparred, obviously, KSI, who is right now got the most actual YouTuber professional boxing fights, which is kind of mad. And to be fair, Vidal Riley, who's an insane actual boxer as well as a coach, when we have seen to it, because he's also coached JMX, who has won 2 fights as well, and now has gone into MMA. But now actually talking on to kind of more like towards like the last week of the fight. Now, obviously, like I said, there's been a lot of interviews saying, obviously, who's been obviously the Gib, who's been KSI, and obviously that's just been a load of crap. Now, guys, another thing which I did kind of pick up, which I suppose it is kind of around this last week or a few weeks ago, was the actual first little press conference they had over in, I believe, LA, which I think it was, I'm not too sure, but the LA press conference where we did see Gib do the kind of a weird, pathetic push, which, to be fair, he did say after that, like, that was his biggest moment to a push, and it was the worst push he did, which is completely fair enough. As long as you own up to something like that, and you know it's a bad push, then completely fair enough. But now actually talking about the press conference, when you do go to it, Jake Paul, when he was asking questions, he seemed cocky at first, and then he just seemed to kind of deteriorate and go a bit more quiet, and for me, I thought he was kind of trembling within his voice, and it was kind of like a look he was trying to go for, like big and tough. He was wearing the vest, the smart watches, the red pants, obviously trying to grow that beard, a bit like a Viking beard, if you get what I mean. And I think it was just more of a show. I think he's more worried than he actually is. Whereas you go and look, obviously, Gib, he was just trying to roast him. Like, he was just violating him, saying random stuff, which he doesn't really normally say, just to get at him. And to be fair, I think they are a bit both nervous, just purely because they've got so much to lose at the same time. And obviously talking about that right now. So guys, if Jake Paul does lose, he's just pretty much going irrelevant. His channel is going irrelevant right now, and yeah, what's he going to do? His music isn't that great, to be fair. Obviously, it's not to my taste. It may be for different people, but still, his music isn't that good. His views have declined him. He's obviously not getting as many subs as he used to do, which again is a massive thing when YouTube was your massive income. His merchandise did fail, I believe, just purely because he was being stupid about it. And also, if he does lose, then the whole Paul family is just going to be losers, and they're going to go into irrelevancy. Now, don't get me wrong, you're still going to have 20 mil subs, so they're probably going to bang maybe like 500,000 to a mil views a video, which is class. I would love that right now for me. But still, when you've had that kind of 20 million, and you were so big at the top of the game, and now you're just going to fall all the way, that is the thing for Jake Paul. They'll lose it. No one will really like them. A lot of people already hate Jake Paul, and he'll just become irrelevant even more, to be fair, which is kind of mad, and I think Gib is just doing his fight to gain that relevancy. Now talking on Gib's side, if he does lose, I think it'll be kind of less irrelevancy, just purely because, like, the whole UK scene is behind him. Everyone loves him. He's already had 2 fights. He's not that big on YouTube, which I say not that big, but compared to like Jake Paul, KSI, Logan Paul, even though Gib does bang on views, subs-wise, obviously they've got like 18 more mil than him. But obviously going to views, right now Gib is banging on views, and I think that's kind of something you should worry, because if he does lose his kind of boxing fight, all of his views have been about boxing, which is massive. But if he goes back to FIFA, then that's where it's kind of a bit worrying, because he's put so much into boxing and he's completely forgot about the whole FIFA gaming part, which he did come from. But I think if he does lose, then if he takes it well and just kind of laughs about it, or even changes for a rematch, then I think he will obviously just not be as irrelevant, but he might just lose a bit of like his views and a bit of like the whole clout thing, just because he did lose. And I think people will be more disappointed that he didn't beat Jake Paul, and a lot of kind of memes from Jake Paul and a lot of roasting will come from him, which I think is again disrespectful, but they're both being disrespectful to each other, which is completely fair enough. Now guys, that is kind of the whole backstory about it and obviously the aftermath. Now let's go on to the prediction. Now, the fight is going to be kind of weird for both of them because, again, 2 different time zones. LA is a massive different time zone, it's about 5 hours, and then so is the UK. So they've both been training over in LA for a long time, so that's again a 5 hours. So if they get over there quickly, obviously kind of just chill out, make sure no jet lag is done, then they'll be both completely fine because they'll both have the same jet lag. Now, when it also does come to it, I believe in the actual fights, so I've seen it, is that Gib is more composed. And I really do believe that, just because he's had more fights, more experience, whereas like Jake Paul's only had one really big fight in front of everyone. And I think that's kind of a massive key thing when it does come to it. So, like, having that kind of like experience in a fight does make you more composed, more relaxed within a ring, and you know how to like more fight and when to take your chances, whereas Jake Paul's only had one big fight. Now, in the first round, I really do think it's going to be kind of more feeling for each other. I don't think anyone's going to go full on crazy. Maybe from Gib, maybe a few little big hits. I really do think that Jake Paul is going to stay back a bit, just see how he's playing it, see if he's going to gas out. I think that's going to be both of them in a way. See if obviously Jake Paul does gas out for Gib and vice versa. But now when it does come into the second round, I think that's when it's going to turn on the heat a lot. Is they're both going to know that they are going to be going fully at it. And I think it's going to be whoever throws the first big punch will win. So in my opinion, I don't think Jake Paul is going to throw the first big punch, just because everyone has said that obviously Jake Paul is more clinical, he's more smart, and the problem is, it's so hard to do it when you're on a fight. You can't calculate it. It's more in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline kicks in. If you can control it, then fair enough. But I don't believe that's going to happen for Jake Paul. I think he's just going to go a bit angry, a bit red, and that's going to work in Gib's favour. So I believe as soon as the second round does start, Gib is going to come straight out, full on, apply that pressure, and just keep going at him because his stamina is sick. It's the exact same like JJ or KSI, obviously whatever you want to call him. Both of their staminas are amazing. They just didn't gas out at all. Like everyone said KSI gassed out on the last one. He said himself he didn't, which to be fair, he's mad after like 6 rounds or 8 rounds, whatever they did, is kind of crazy. But guys, third round again, obviously with Gib applying pressure. Now guys, for the third round, with Gib applying pressure on the second round, which I do believe, I think Jake Paul is going to start to panic and he's going to start being wary. Obviously, Gib going for one hand, so he's got the advantage. And I think there might be a possible knockdown or like just a kind of a break, almost just like a breather. I don't know if he'll get knocked down, but there'll be a lot of clinching within this third round. Obviously, because Jake Paul is going to be wanting to be able to hold on to him, make sure he's okay, obviously get his breath back, which I do believe this third round is going to be more like that, more of an annoying round. And then I think that round will be just kind of scrapped. And then in the fourth round, this is where I think it's going to happen. I think Gib's just going to be, you know what, I'm just annoyed, pissed off, just because you keep clinching me. He's got that temper, and I think he's just going to go full on ham as much as he can, punch him, and then I believe it's going to be TKO with his team throwing in the towel. Now, a lot of people will say his team won't throw in the towel. I really do believe this, just because his coach was a professional boxer. He's now obviously a coach, obviously from professional boxing, and now coaching him. He knows when to actually throw in the towel. He knows what he can take. He's been coaching for a long while, and I think that's going to be a massive thing. I think he will throw in the towel. Whereas if you go to the Logan Paul fight, if you go to the first one, I'm surprised they didn't throw in the towel earlier. But obviously, because his reputation is on the line, I just think that they didn't throw in for Logan Paul. But purely because of like Jake Paul, this coach is more mindset. He knows what's best for him. He doesn't want him to get too hurt. He doesn't want him to any bad difficulties or health issues afterwards. So I think in the fourth round, they will throw in the towel. Now guys, you're probably thinking, wow, right, that is a massive prediction. Yeah, I know, but I really do think that Gib has just got the whole side behind him. He's got the whole UK behind him, which is a massive thing. With Jake Paul in the USA, it's 50-50. You either like him or you don't. He's like Marmite. So I really do believe that he hasn't got as obviously a big backing when it does come to it. And I really do think that will just happen. And yeah, fair enough. Gib will just win. However, obviously talking if Jake Paul does win, I don't know how he will win. It might go to decision. But if he does win, he will probably go on to fight KSI, which he said himself, I'll happily take it. But then afterwards, he would just be rinsing it for views, probably bore it off or try and long it off just to get views out of it, which is a smart thing, but annoying at the same time. So when it does actually come to it, they'll probably fight and KSI will just destroy him. If he does actually do well, then fair enough. But I really don't see Jake Paul getting past Gib. And if he does get past Gib, then I really don't see him getting past KSI. But if he does, then fair play to him. But it's just like, if his brother can't beat him, he's at twice the size of him. Even though size doesn't really matter, but still, like, they're just completely different. Logan Paul has so much more power, and they both just panic under pressure when it does come to it. So, like, especially with Logan Paul having all that wrestling experience and he panics, I think that'll just be the same thing, and he won't be able to handle it with Jake Paul. But that's my opinion. But guys, that is just pretty much it. So if you did enjoy, then please do leave a like. Subscribe if you're new around here. Tell me what you do think in the actual comment section. And apart from that, the fight is tonight. I'm going to be watching it. And yeah, let's see what happens. So guys, see ya.